You walk down to the coop at about 11 in the morning, and you know before you get to the door. You feel it off the wood. You put your hand near the boards on the sunny side, and there is heat coming back at you like the side of a stove. And when you open that door, the air that comes out at you is not the air you are standing in. It is thicker. It is older. It has been sitting in there since first light with nowhere to go. And there she is. She's standing apart from the others, in the corner where the shavings are, and she has her wings held out from her body. Not raised, held away from her sides like she has forgotten how to fold them, like they are something she is carrying rather than something she owns. Her beak is open. It has been open for a while, and under her beak, at her throat, there is a fluttering going on that you would not notice unless you were looking for it. A fast, small movement, over and over, and she cannot stop it, and she is not choosing to do it. Her eyes are half shut. Her comb, which was red and stiff and standing up on Tuesday, has gone slack and pale toward the points, and there is a grey cast on it that you do not like the look of. You are right not to like the look of it. There is dust and shavings stuck on the front of her breast. That means she has been down. She has been lying on that floor, and she has got herself back up, and that is worse news than if she was lying down now, because it means this has been going on longer than you have known about it. And you come in the door, and she does not move. That is the thing that turns your stomach, because she always moves. Every day of her life she has come at you looking for food, and today you are standing 3 feet from her, and she is looking at you, and she is not coming. And the reason she is not coming is that she is spending everything she has on breathing. Now the water, you look at the drinker and it is not empty. That is the part that makes folk feel worst afterward. It is not empty, but you put your hand in it and it is warm as a bath, and she has not touched it since 8 o'clock because a hen will stop drinking water that is warmer than she is. Warm water in a heat wave is the same as no water at all, and nobody ever told you that. She takes one step, and her legs do not go where she sends them. That is the moment. If you're standing in it right now, put your phone down and go and do number 1 and number 2 on this list and come back to the rest of it after. She has got minutes, not hours. And the 2 things I am going to say first are the 2 things that matter most. If you are not standing in it right now, if you are watching because you have a bad feeling about the week ahead, then stay where you are, because I am about to give you 40 things. 20 of them are what you do for a hen who's already in it, right now, today, with what is in your house and your yard. No equipment, no power, nothing bought. And 20 of them are what you do, so that you never have to stand in that doorway at all, so that the week comes and goes and your birds sit through it, and you never find out what your flock looks like on the other side of that. Because I will tell you plainly, if she goes down and she cannot get back up and you get to her too late, you do not get her back. There is no treatment for the end of that. There is only the hour before it. And that hour is yours, and it is all yours, and that is what the whole of this video is about. You do not need a vet on the phone for the first 20 minutes of this, and there is not a vet in the country who could reach you in it anyway. You do not need a supplement. You do not need a fan you have not got, or power you have not got, or a mister system, or a coop you cannot afford to replace in August. You do not need to be clever, and you do not need to be quick. You need to know the order. Now, before I get into it, one thing and one time only. There is more of this than I can fit in any video. How to read a hen 3 days before she goes down. How to feed a flock off your own ground, month by month, winter included. What to handle yourself in the byre, and what to lift the phone for. How my grandfather did the things he never wrote down. Every method I've never given out, I put all of it in a book at angusdouglaspoultry.com. Link in my description or scan the code on your screen. That is the only time you will hear me say it. Now let us get back to the video. My name is Angus Douglas. I keep sheep on the west coast of Scotland. 5 generations on the same ground, 440 ewes on the hill, a small flock of hens by the house, and 2 pigs at the back end of every year. I have worked 31 lambings here. The nearest vet is an hour and 50 minutes away in good weather. And I will tell you the reason I'm the one making this video, because you are entitled to wonder about it. Scotland, heat, I know. That is exactly the reason. Nobody here builds for heat. Every coop on this coast is built to keep wind and rain out. Small openings, close boarding, felt on the roof, and no thought whatsoever given to getting hot air away from a bird. For 150 years that was the correct way to build here. Then we got a run of summers this coast has no business having, and I stood in my own doorway on a July afternoon and looked at two birds I could not do anything for, because I had built them a box that was very good at holding heat in. I have not had a bird go down with heat in 11 years since. Not one, and we have had worse weeks than the one that caught me. The folk who suffer worst in a heat wave are never the folk in hot countries. They are the folk whose birds are not built for it, in coops that were never built for it, in a place where nobody expects it. That is most of Britain now, and a great deal of America in a week that runs hotter than it should. And it was me once. Now here is the part that will annoy you. Go and look at the coop you bought. Look at the size of the vents. Look at the felt on that roof soaking up sun all morning. Look at the pop hole, the only real opening in the whole structure, sat at floor level where the coolest air already is, so nothing moves through that box at all. That box is the most dangerous thing on your property in a hot week. Not the sun, not the run, not the lack of a fan, the box. And there is not a company selling coops on this earth that is going to tell you that, because they sell coops. They will sell you a coop fan to bolt onto it for $60. They will sell you a solar vent. They will sell you the accessory that patches the fault, and never once say that the fault is the thing itself. I will give you a second one, and this one is worse. Come August, your hens start laying soft shells. Shells you can dent with a thumb, or no proper shell at all, just a membrane, and every answer you find tells you it is calcium. Feed more oyster shell. Buy the supplement. There is a tub of it on the shelf at every feed store in the world, and it moves hardest in the hottest month of the year. It is not a calcium problem. I'm going to explain to you exactly what it actually is in a few minutes, and once you understand it, you will never buy that tub again. And that is precisely why the people who sell it will never explain it to you. Now, the thing you have to understand before any of the 40 will make sense. A hen does not have a single sweat gland anywhere on her body. Not one. When you get hot, you go damp all over, and the air takes the heat away as that damp evaporates. And that system of yours is so good, you have never once had to think about it. She has none of it. What she has is 3 ways out, and that is the lot. The first is her comb, her wattles, and her bare legs and feet. Those are radiators. Bare skin with blood running close under the surface. And when she gets hot, she pushes more blood through them, and the heat goes off into the air. A big floppy comb is not decoration. It is a cooling fin. That is why the breeds out of hot countries have great tall combs, and the breeds out of cold countries have wee tight ones tucked down on the skull. The second is holding her wings out. Under a hen's wing, the feathering is thin and the skin is close, so lifting the wing opens 2 vents on the sides of the bird. When you see wings held away from the body, she's not being dramatic. She has opened her side vents. The third is panting, and panting is the one that costs her. She has no sweat, so the only wet surface she can evaporate from is the inside of her own airway. So she breathes fast and shallow across her own wet throat and lungs, and throws heat off that way. And when panting is not enough, she goes to the flutter, that fast movement under the beak, vibrating the floor of her mouth to push more air across those wet surfaces without the work of full breathing. That flutter is not an early sign. That is a bird who has already spent the easy options. And here is what that costs her, which is the thing I promised you about the eggshells. When she pants, she is not only moving air, she's blowing carbon dioxide out of her blood far faster than she is meant to. And carbon dioxide in the blood is part of what holds her whole chemistry in balance. Blow enough of it off and that balance shifts. And one of the first things to go is her ability to hold calcium in the form her body can actually use to build a shell. The calcium is in her. It is right there. She cannot get at it because she has been breathing wrong for 4 days. So the soft shells in August are not a calcium shortage. They are a breathing problem wearing a calcium costume. You can pour oyster shell into that bird by the bucket and fix nothing, because the shortage is not of the mineral, it is of the conditions she needs to use it. Cool her down and the shells come back on their own in about a week. That is the whole thing. Every single one of the 40 things I'm going to tell you is doing one of exactly two jobs. Either it is helping her get heat out through those 3 rotes, or it is stopping heat getting into her in the first place. That is it. That is the entire subject. If you understand that, you could work out most of this list yourself. And here is the part that turns the whole thing on its head, and I want you to sit with it. She does not go down at 2 in the afternoon. She goes down at 4 in the morning, or she goes down at 11, and the reason in both cases is the same. It is the night before. A hen deals with a hot day by getting rid of the heat she takes on. She does that through the night, in the dark, when the air drops. That is when she gets back to level and starts the next day empty. But a small wooden box with poor ventilation does not cool overnight. It holds. You go out at 6 and the outside air is lovely, and inside that box it is still yesterday. She has spent 8 hours shut in a warm box in the dark, not eating, not drinking, in a stack of other birds all giving off heat, on bedding that is quietly composting under her feet and running warmer than the air. She did not start the day empty. She started it half full. So on day 1 she is fine. Day 2 she is quiet. Day 3 she is at the wall by 10 in the morning. And you are standing in the doorway wondering what changed. And nothing changed. It has been building for 3 nights and you were asleep for all of them. Heat does not get a hen in a day. Heat gets a hen over 3 nights. That did not come from a book. That came from my grandfather, who kept his hens in the far end of the byre, and who had one rule about them in summer that I did not understand until I was about 30 years old. He shut them in at dark, and he opened the byre door at first light before he did anything else at all, before the kettle, before the beasts. He said the night is theirs, and you are not to steal it from them. I thought it was habit. It was not habit. He was giving them their 8 hours of cool air, and he had worked out, without ever putting a number on anything, that a hen who has not had her night has nothing left for the day. Right. 20 things for a bird who is in it now. In order. The order matters more than the list. Number 1. Get her out of that box. Not into your house. The house is still air, and still air is no good to her. Out into deep shade with a draught through it. The north side of a wall, a stone shed with both doors open, under a hedge, somewhere the air is moving and the sun cannot reach her. Number 2. Cool water on her legs and feet. This is the fastest thing you can do, and almost nobody does it first. A basin, 2 inches of cool water from the tap, stand her in it. Her legs and feet are bare skin with a lot of blood moving through them, and they will dump heat into that water faster than anything else on her. Hold her there if she will not stand. 5 minutes. Number 3. Cool, not cold. No ice, no ice water, and do not hold her under in a bucket. A bird already at the edge who gets plunged into cold water can go into shock, and the shock is a bigger problem than the heat was. Bring her down over 20 to 30 minutes, not 2. Number 4. Wet her skin, not her feathers. This is the one folk get wrong every time. Chucking water over the top of a chicken does almost nothing, because feathers are built to shed water and hold air, and all you have done is put a wet blanket on a warm bird. Part the feathers with your fingers, under the wings and on the belly where the feathering is thin, and get the water onto skin. That is worth 10 of a soaking. Number 5. Wet cloth on the comb and wattles. Damp, cool, wrung out. Lay it over the comb, wipe the wattles. Do it again every couple of minutes as it warms. You are working the radiators. Number 6. Move air across her. If you have a fan, a fan. If you have no power, open 2 doors opposite one another for a through draft. If you have neither, take a bit of board and fan her with your arm. It sounds daft, it is not. Evaporation needs moving air, and still air is a bird's enemy. Number 7. Get her drinking and get it cool. Cool water, not iced. Dip her beak into it, just the tip, and let her decide. Most birds will start once they taste it. She may take a great deal more than you expect, and that is fine. Number 8. Do not pour water down her throat. Not with a syringe, not a bottle, not the corner of a cup. A panting bird has her airway open and working hard, and liquid poured in goes down the wrong way and into the lungs, and that is a problem you cannot fix in a yard. Dip the beak and let her swallow on her own. If she will not drink at all, that is a serious sign, and I will come back to it. Number 9, electrolytes if you have them. If you have not, you can make something serviceable. To 1 gallon of cool water, add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Stir it until it is gone and offer that. She has been panting for hours and she has lost more than water. Do not run this for weeks. It is for the event. Number 10. Take the feed away for now. Digesting a meal produces heat inside the bird, and a hen in trouble does not need to be running a furnace in her gut at the same time. She will not want it anyway. Feed goes back down in the evening when she's level. Number 11. Separate her, not out of sight, but where the others cannot push her off the water or the cool spot. A hen at the bottom of the order gets the warm end of everything, and very often the bird who goes down is the one who was kept off the drinker all week. Number 12. Get her onto something cold. A flagstone in the shade, a concrete step, a hosed paving slab, the flat of a spade laid on cool ground. She will press her breast and belly to it and pull the heat out of herself if you give her the chance. Number 13. Wet the ground and let her dig. Hose a patch of earth in the shade until it is damp 2 inches down and let her scrape into it. She will cool her own belly in damp soil better than you can with a cloth. Number 14. Handle her as little as you can. Every time you catch her, hold her, or chase her, her temperature goes up. I know you want to be doing something. Set her upright, then step back and let her work. Number 15. Use her breathing as your gauge. Count her breaths for 15 seconds, then again in 10 minutes. If the count is coming down and the flutter has stopped, you are winning. If she is still fluttering after 20 minutes of all this, you keep going. Number 16. Look at the colour of the comb and know what you are looking at. Pale is heat. Pale is what you expect. Purple, blue or dark at the tips is something else entirely. That is a bird who is not getting oxygen where it needs to go, and that is the far end of this. Number 17. Here is my line and I draw it in every video I make. Cooling her is yours. Nobody is coming to your yard in the next 20 minutes, and you should not wait for anybody, but a bird who is unresponsive, or who has gone purple in the comb, or who is twitching or paddling her legs, or who will not take a drop of water at all, is past what a basin will fix. Cool her and get on the phone at the same time. And if she comes through the afternoon and then goes quiet and hunched the next day, ring somebody then too, because heat does damage inside a bird that shows up a day late, and that one is not a bucket job either. Number 18. Do not put her in front of a mister on a muggy day. Evaporation is how all of this works, and on a still, humid day, the air is already carrying about as much water as it can, so a mister only makes a bird wet and warm. In dry heat, misters are excellent. In muggy heat, they are close to useless, and they can make it worse. Number 19. When she comes up, she stays put. Do not send her back to the flock and get on with your day. She stops in the cool with her own water for the rest of the afternoon and goes back in the evening when the air has dropped. Number 20. Tomorrow morning, go and look at her first, before anything else. A bird who comes through this is often not right for a couple of days, and the second day is when you find out whether you got to her in time or only nearly in time. Eating, drinking, standing square, comb, filling back in. That is what you want. That is the 20. If she is up on her feet and drinking, you have done the thing, and you have done it with a basin and a wet cloth and about half an hour of your attention. Now 20 more so that you never stand in that doorway at all. Number 1. Shade. Before water, before ventilation, before breeds and feed and any of it. Shade over the run, over the coop, over the drinkers. If you do one thing this week, put shade over the roof of the coop itself, because that roof is what turns the box into an oven by 10 in the morning. Number 2. Shade with air under it, not shade that traps. A sheet of metal laid flat on a run is not shade, it is a griddle. Hold it up off the structure with a hand's width of gap, so hot air can run out from under it. A tarp on posts with air moving beneath it will drop that run more than anything else you can do for the money. Number 3. Grow shade. Beans, sunflowers, Jerusalem artichokes along the sunny fence line. It takes a season and costs the price of a packet of seed, and it is the only shade that gets better every year instead of worse. Number 4. More than one drinker, always. A hen in real heat will not walk far for water, and the birds at the bottom of the order get pushed off the one that exists. 3 small drinkers beat 1 big one in July. Number 5. Every drinker in shade. Every one. Water sitting in sun goes warm in under an hour, and a hen will stop drinking warm water. This is the most common way a keeper ends up with a bird down beside a drinker that is completely full. Number 6. Keep the water cool through the day. Frozen bottles in the drinker, a bucket sunk to the rim in the ground, a slab over the top, a refill at midday. Cool water is not a luxury. She will drink far more of it, and drinking is her whole defense. Number 7. Clean the drinkers more often in summer than in winter. Warm water grows things fast, and a hen put off her water. In the 1 week she needs it most is in trouble, and it will look to you like she stopped drinking for no reason. Number 8. Open drinkers beat nipple drinkers in extreme heat. A bird working nipples takes in less, more slowly, and a panting bird has less patience for the work. Keep the nipples if you like them, but put out an open dish alongside them for the hot spell. Number 9. Get the vents high. Hot air rises and needs a way out at the top. A vent at floor level lets cool air in, and cool air is not the problem, trapped hot air is. Cut vents under the eaves, both ends, cover them with mesh, and you have changed that coop more than any fan will. Number 10. Cross ventilation, not one hole. Air needs somewhere in and somewhere out, or it just sits. 2 openings, opposite ends, high. Number 11. Open the coop before the sun is on it. First thing, before the kettle. That is my grandfather's rule, and it is the most valuable one on this list. Every hour that box sits shut in morning sun is an hour of heat. You will be fighting all day. Number 12. Take the deep litter out for summer. That bedding you built up all winter is composting. It is a slow heap, generating real warmth under your birds at exactly the wrong time of year. Strip it back from June, build it again in autumn. Number 13. Give them more room at night, not the same room. Every bird in there is a small heater. If you are at the top end of what that coop holds in winter, you are over it in July. Number 14. Feed at the ends of the day. Digestion makes heat. Feed at first light and again in the evening, and take the midday meal away entirely. She eats the same amount and makes that heat when the air can take it. Number 15. Cut the scratch grain and the high protein treats in a hot week. Not her layer feed. Keep the ration proper. It is the extras that cost her. Grain, mealworms, all of it makes more internal heat to process than her ordinary feed. Number 16. Hose the run at first light and again in the evening. Not the birds, the ground. Damp earth in shade stays cooler than everything around it all day, and they will use it without being told. Number 17. Keep the dust bath in shade with the ground under it damp. They will dig down into the cool layer and lie in it with a wing out, and a bird dust bathing at 2 in the afternoon is a bird who is managing. Number 18. Watch the broody hen. A broody in a heat wave is sat in the hottest, stillest, most enclosed corner of the coop, refusing to leave it, and she will not come off for water. She is the bird you will find down. Lift her off twice a day, put her in front of water in the shade, and make her stand there. Number 19. Know which birds are at risk before the week comes. The heavy breeds, the feather-footed ones, small tight combs, the old birds, the ones in heaviest, lay, anything carrying too much condition. Walk out tonight and pick the 3 you would worry about, and in a hot week you check those 3 first, every time. Number 20. Get your kit together before you need it, and this is the one nobody does. A basin, an old towel, a jar with the salt and soda and sugar already measured. A bit of shade cloth. Put them by the door in May, because the day you need them is a day you have about 10 minutes, and 10 minutes spent hunting for a basin is 10 minutes she did not have. Now, 2 things I need to walk back, because I would rather you heard them from me. The frozen treats, frozen watermelon, frozen peas in a block of ice, frozen corn, all the things you will see on every video on this subject, including some very good ones. The cooling from them is close to nothing. Think about the size of the thing. A hen is around 2 kilos of warm bird. A slice of frozen melon is a few hundred grams, and it comes and goes through her in minutes. The idea that it drops her temperature in any way that matters does not survive the arithmetic. I say that as somebody who puts them out. But here is why I still put them out, and it is a real reason. She eats them because they are wet, and she likes them, and that is water going into a bird who might not otherwise have gone to the drinker. The cooling is a story. The water intake is genuine, and it is worth doing for that alone. Just do not think you have solved anything with a frozen melon, because a bird in a bad coop with warm water and no shade will still go down with a lump of melon in front of her. And the second one, silkies. You will read all over the place that silkies do surprisingly well in heat. And I have said something like it myself in the past, and I have stopped saying it. A silkie's feathering does not lock together the way an ordinary feather does, so it does not lie flat and it does not shed water, and a soaked silkie stays soaked. And she has a small walnut comb, which is a small radiator on a bird, carrying a great deal of fluff. On my ground, the silkies want watching more than the rest, not less. If you keep them, love them, but do not let anybody tell you they are your heat-hardy bird. Now here is the thing that is not in any of the videos on this subject, and it is the reason I made this one: the wet sack. My grandfather kept a Hessian sack on a nail by the byre door all summer, and on the days that mattered he soaked it in the trough, wrung it out until it was heavy but not running, and hung it across the open doorway on a bit of twine so it covered most of the opening, but not all of it. The air coming in had to come through wet sacking, and as that water evaporated out of the cloth, it took heat out of the air passing through it. The air landing on the birds on the far side was cooler than the air outside the building, not by a small amount either. Same principle as the old meat safes with a wet cloth over them, and it worked in the byre the way it worked on the butter. You can do it this afternoon with a sack, an old towel or a bit of cotton sheet. Hang it over the coop opening on the windward side, wet it in the morning and again at midday, and leave a gap at one side so the birds can get in and out and the air still has somewhere to go. A covered doorway with no airflow is worse than nothing. And here is the honest part of it, because it goes with the mister. It works on a dry, hot day and it works well. On a muggy, still day it does very little because the air is already full of water and it cannot take any more. So on a still, humid day, forget the sack and put everything you have into shade and moving air instead. And one more thing that came down with it, which is worth more to you than any piece of kit. Learn to read her before she goes down. There is an order to it, and it is the same order every time. First, she stops scratching. That is the first sign, and it happens hours before anything else, and nobody sees it because a hen standing still does not look like an emergency. She stops working the ground. Then she goes to the shade and she stays there. Then the wings come away from the body. Then the beak opens. Then the throat starts to flutter under the beak. Then she squats down on her hocks with her wings still out. Then she is down. You have hours between the first of those and the last. If you catch her at the wings, you have all the time in the world, and a wet cloth will do it. If you catch her at the flutter, you have work to do, but you will manage. If you catch her at the squat, you are in the difficult part of it. I do not walk round my birds in a hot week counting their symptoms. I go down at 11 and I look for one thing. Is anybody not scratching? That is the whole of it. That is the check. And it takes 4 seconds. And it is the only reason I've not had a bird down in 11 years. Nobody paid me for any of this. No company has a hand in it, no supplement, no product, nothing on this list that I make a penny out of. Everything in the 40 is a basin, a towel, a tarp, a bit of mesh, some seed, and the time of day you do things. If somebody tries to sell you a solution to a hot week for $100, look closely at whether they have told you to cut a vent under your eaves, because that costs about $6 and it will do more than anything they are selling. I want to widen this out for a minute because I think it is bigger than it looks. Small flocks are disappearing. Not the commercial units, they are fine, they have climate control and alarms, and somebody paid to watch a screen. It is the 6 hens at the bottom of a garden and the 20 in a paddock. And one of the things that puts people off worst is a bad week in summer where they lose birds they had grown fond of, and they decide they are not any good at this and they do not start again. And they were not bad at it. They were never told the difference between shade and a metal sheet, or that a hen will not drink warm water, or that the night before is what gets her. Nobody told them, because the knowledge that carries a small flock through a heat wave has no product attached to it. There is nothing to sell in the sentence, open the coop before the sun is on it. so it does not get said, and a great deal of nonsense that does have something to sell gets said instead, very loudly, every July. That knowledge used to travel down a fence line from one keeper to the next. It does not travel that way anymore because the person next door does not keep hens, so it has to travel this way or not at all. So here is your list, and I will keep it short. Shade over the coop roof and over every drinker today. Cut 2 vents high up both ends and open that coop before the sun is on it. 3 drinkers instead of 1, all in shade, all refilled cool at midday. Feed at first light and at dusk, never at noon, and cut the grain and the treats. Get a basin, a towel and a jar of salt, soda and sugar sat by the door before you need them. And at 11 in the morning, walk down and ask yourself one question. Is anybody not scratching? Tell me in the comments where you are watching from and what your temperature got to this week. I have folk watching from places where 38 degrees is a Tuesday, and folk watching from places where 26 is a crisis, and the second lot are usually in more trouble because nothing they own was built for it. And tell me your worst coop fault, the thing you know is wrong and have not fixed. I read every one of them. Next time I am going to show you the other end of the year and the mistake that catches nearly everybody, which is that most folk make their coop warmer in winter, and in doing so they take away the one thing their birds actually need in the cold, and the birds pay for it in a way that does not show up until February. It is the same fault as the summer one, turned round the other way. I will show you exactly what it is. Until then, watch the water, watch the night, watch for the one that has stopped scratching.